Something they don't tell you while you're going through your weight loss surgery journey that you probably was not prepared for. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae if you're new, and welcome to a new video. I make content all about wellness, self-development, and becoming your best self both internally and externally. So if that sounds like something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video if you like wellness content, and comment down below and let me know what are some things you did not expect while going through your own weight loss surgery journey. Now let's get into today's topic. Eating is a big issue after weight loss surgery, and going through low restriction days and high restriction days when you are just trying to figure out how to eat again can be mind-blowing. This was something I did not expect to go through at all on my weight loss surgery journey. I do not recall my bariatric clinic talking about this. When I did my research on weight loss surgery, I don't recall people talking about this. This is something that I started experiencing firsthand. So I had the gastric sleeve, and I can only speak from my own personal experience, but I do know some of my bypass friends and some of my switch friends have also experienced this. So this is for us who are a little bit later in our journey. I am currently 16 months post-op now, and I started to really go through this about, I want to say close to a year post-op. So for all of you newbies who are under a year, just remember this conversation when you get there. So if you have been following my journey, then you already know that I have had a great experience with my gastric sleeve when it comes to the things that I eat. From day one, I have never been nauseous. I have never thrown up. I've always been able to tolerate food and different types of food. My stomach is literally made of steel, and there hasn't been a lot of things that have bothered me. I've only had one dumping episode, which I talked about, and I'll link in the cards above. And like I said, I've always had a really good, healthy appetite. And in comparison to other people, and this is why it's important not to compare yourself to other people, I felt like I was eating a lot. Like I felt like I was eating too much. But the only way to figure out if you're truly eating too much is if one, you're not listening to your body and you're overfilling yourself. Two, you notice that you're graze eating, or that you're boredom eating, or you're snack eating, and you're unnecessarily eating and you're not hungry. And three, if the scale is consistently going up. But if you're not doing those things, if you're honoring your full cues, if you're honoring your hunger cues, if you're not doing too much with your eating, and you just so happen to be able to eat more, but the scale is consistently either staying the same or going down, you're fine. You're fine. That's literally me. But as I started to grow my appetite more and more, and this was after 6 months post-op, I really had an increase with my appetite. And then when I hit around 10, 11 months post-op, that's when I started to really have a normal appetite, like what a normal person would have. And I started noticing that some days I'm more hungry. Other days, I am not hungry at all, which was odd to me. When it first was happening, I'm like, okay, like whatever. But then I started to notice it didn't matter what my activity looked like. Some days I really was not hungry. And the more of those days I was having, the more I paid attention, and I started to kind of get a little worried because, of course, as a bariatric patient, we want to make sure that we're hitting our protein minimums, that we're getting our fruits and vegetables in, that we're getting our fiber in, that we're getting our water in, that we're getting our vitamins in. And sometimes on my low restriction eating days, really didn't want to drink water either. So not only did it affect my food, but it also affected my fluid intake. So what exactly is low restriction and high restriction when it comes to eating? So when I say restriction, I don't mean your stomach is physically restricting you and you cannot eat a certain amount. That's why I'm saying this is not for the newbies. This is for us who are a little bit older in the journey. But I'm talking about the actual sensation of wanting to eat. And so we all on TikTok and on Instagram, which if you're not following me on my Instagram and my TikTok, go ahead and follow me. I post a lot of content over there. And I'm always on TikTok live answering you guys' questions. But that's the key word that we all claim it to be: restriction, low restriction and high restriction. So that's what I'm talking about. The actual sensation of wanting to eat. and not wanting to eat. So what high restriction looked like for me, or no, it's not really a restriction at all if I'm able to eat more highly, but again, it's just a word that we use. So my high eating days, I might not have moved my body at all for the day. There's nothing that would have ramped up my hunger, yet I'm hungry. And so I noticed that I really have like high restriction days as a girly around my cycle. Like the week before my cycle is when I'm noticing I am hungry all the time. I'm eating all the time. And not only that, I'm craving foods that I wouldn't normally want to eat, and not necessarily junk foods or sweet foods, just foods, just any type of foods. I'm just craving and I'm eating more. And it can become scary if you're still, and when I say scary, I mean mentally scary. It can become scary when you're still on a weight loss journey after weight loss surgery, and you realize that your appetite is going up and you're craving all these different foods, and you're honoring that. You pretty much have no choice but to honor that. And you know, you're worried about the scale still, and that can be a little scary. But once I started to pay attention to what my body was doing at a week to week basis, I'm noticing, okay, every time I'm around my cycle, this is happening. But during my cycle, it starts to kind of, even out, go back to normal. And then after my cycle, that is when the low restriction is low restriction in. And let me know in the comments below if you want me to talk about cycles and cycle syncing, especially after weight loss surgery, because we experience so many changes with our cycles and our hormones after weight loss surgery. I have an Oura ring. I got that for my birthday. And so I've really been paying attention to my cycle, and not only when it comes to my eating, but with my fitness and with my working out, my energy and stuff like that. So let me know if you want me to do a video specifically on like cycle syncing after weight loss surgery. But like I was saying, after my cycle, I started noticing I am not hungry at all. Like, I'm really not hungry at all. I have an energy boost. I'm moving a lot more. So now at this point, maybe during my high restriction days, I'm not moving at all. But now on my low restriction days, I have the energy to work out. Like, I'm pumped, I'm ready to go, but I also don't have the urge to eat. And so I'm not properly fueling my body as well. And that in itself can be scary, because I was suffering from reactive hypoglycemia, where my blood sugar would drop real low because I wasn't eating, especially when it came to my working out. So I had to force myself to start eating before my workouts. I couldn't do it fasted anymore because of the low blood sugar drops. And so I started paying attention, like I said, at 10 months post-op, and it's just continuously been happening. I started paying attention to, this is happening a lot. Like, no matter how much I'm revving up my appetite via working out, I'm running a lot. That cardio in itself makes you hungry, and I still wasn't hungry. And on average, I eat about 1,600 calories now. Maybe back then I was around 1,200 calories, but on my higher restriction days, I was probably at 1,400 calories. But sometimes on my low restriction days, I'm at 800 calories. I mean, even yesterday, I had a low restriction day. I only had coffee, and I talked about this in a vlog that I'm gonna be showing you guys soon. But I only had coffee. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I didn't have an actual meal until about 5 o'clock. And by then, the reactive hypoglycemia episodes started happening, and it hadn't happened in a long time. And I started feeling sick, feeling nauseous, because I hadn't put anything in my body. And so I started snacking on some shrimp, and then later on I had a Quest pizza and some wings, and that was pretty much it for the day. So even for that day, I probably had about 1,000 calories. Mind you, I am still running. I'm burning a lot of calories, yet I only had 1,000 calories, and I'm normally eating 1,600. And that was just because I was not hungry. And it's crazy because before weight loss surgery, I used to stuff myself, like we all probably did. I used to stuff myself. I used to overeat when I did eat, or I would do the boredom eating, the graze eating. I was always putting something in my mouth even when I wasn't hungry. And so after weight loss surgery, I decided to start honoring my hunger cues and my full cues. And I don't like to force myself to eat when I'm not hungry. But sometimes there becomes a time where I do have to force myself to go ahead and eat a little something so that my blood sugar doesn't drop, so that I'm still fueling my body, and so that I can still hit my protein minimums and my fluid minimums. And so what's the solution? What's the solution? We now know that this is an issue, so how do we problem solve? Because something about me after weight loss surgery, if I figure out something's an issue, I'm all about solving it now. I don't want to become a victim to my own circumstances. So when it comes to the high restriction days, I honor those days. And I honor those days because I know that most of the time I need it. I need to eat a little bit more. And it averages out throughout the week, throughout the month. And this is why it's still good to kind of calorie track, macro track, weigh your food, because instead of looking at it day to day, you can look at it at a week, and maybe you might have intaked 1,500 calories this day, but maybe the next day you only had 800, then the next day you had 1,200. Eventually, at the end of the week, it will all, the goal is to be at an even kill. And so when it comes to the high restriction days, as long as I'm still paying attention to my hunger cues and to my full cues, I honor those. But I hold myself accountable. I don't just go crazy and start binging on junk and candy and sweets and stuff like that. Like, no, I don't do that. I still hold myself accountable, and I will still allow myself to indulge in those things if I do want it. But again, I hold myself accountable. I limit it if it's becoming an issue. But this is more so focused on the low restriction, because something that people don't tell you, under eating your calories can stall your weight loss process and your weight loss journey. When it comes to my low restriction days, I make sure at bare minimum, I'm hitting these three things. I'm getting 64 ounces of water. I'm getting 60 grams of protein, and I'm hitting 25 grams of fiber. I eat a very high protein and fiber diet. Fiber allows me to stay regular after weight loss surgery, and I talked about this in my constipation video. I think it's the same video I did with the dumping, so make sure you watch it. But I make sure I hit those three, those bare minimum three. And I'm also paying attention to how much time is going along before I actually eat something. So sometimes I'll wake up at 7 in the morning and still won't have anything to eat until 11 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, if I still haven't had something to eat, even if I'm not hungry, I'm going ahead and forcing myself to just eat something. Even if it's a couple of bites of something, I'm gonna go ahead and eat. And I'm still prioritizing my protein, my fruits and vegetables, and then my carbs. And now at that point, if I am having a lower restriction day and the breakfast came that late, now I'm gonna put some alarms in my phone just to do a little check-in, just to make sure that I am still eating. So if I ate at 12, by 4 o'clock, if I still haven't had something to eat, I'm gonna have a late lunch. And if by 8 o'clock I still haven't had something to eat, I'm gonna have a late dinner, because of those alarm check-ins, because I don't wanna do my own body a disservice. Comment down below and let me know if you're further out in your weight loss surgery journey. Have you experienced your low and high restriction days? And how do you go about problem solving these issues? I definitely want us to come together as a community and help the newbies out that could be watching this. So sound off in the comments below. But that is it for you guys. Short and sweet. I just wanted to let people know about this part of the journey if your research hasn't brought you to this, because I know for me it didn't. And so I wanted the new people and the people who's currently going through it and still may not know about it or don't know a solution for it to have the tea. I'm still gonna be doing these sit down videos, but I have decided to start showing you guys in a vloggy style how I'm living my life after weight loss surgery as I'm transitioning into maintenance, and what that looks like day to day, because it's hard. Maintenance is hard, and a lot of us have never even gotten to this point. We've always been on a weight loss journey. And so I want to show you guys how I'm realistically going about my weight loss and my weight loss journey, and having moderation and flexibility and balance in my diet while holding myself accountable, and how I'm going through things like low restriction or high restriction, or what my fitness looked like, or dealing with my body issues or styling my body after weight loss surgery. And so make sure you watch those vlogs as they're starting to come out. I'm still gonna be doing these sit down videos and giving you guys some information in the tea, but I'm also gonna be touching on information in tea while showing you what I eat in a day, my fitness in a day, vloggy style. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon. That way you're notified every time I post a new video. Make sure you're sharing this video with somebody who's also gone through their weight loss surgery journey, just in case they didn't know about this either. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.